we had some requests to slow down and explain the drill that we worked on in the first lesson. So today we're going to go piece by piece and explain each part of it, and we have colored swords now so that it's easy to see which sword is doing what and why. Keep in mind that as a coach, you have to develop a different set of skills than you do as a competitor. I'm going to be making big, goofy, slow moves because I want the student to be able to pick up these cues that I give. As the student advances over months and years, I start making the cues smaller and faster and more subtle. But in the beginning, you have to do it slowly and smoothly. You want the student to always be successful in 90% of the exercises that they're doing. If his failure rate starts to get up close to 90%, that means I'm doing something wrong. I'm going too fast, I'm giving an exercise that's too complicated, or my cues are hard to read. So while you're doing this, if you're trying to learn how to give instruction to another fencer, keep in mind that you're going to have to make your moves in a different fashion than you did when you were a competitor. This is a whole different set of skills that you have to learn, and that's what we'll be working on today. So first, we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about the movement that's involved in the actions. Now, you'll notice that we're in light contact, just light contact. We're trying to develop a tactile sense. I don't want him to have to look at my blade to figure out what's going on. I want him to be able to feel what's going on and move automatically. We're trying to develop new neural pathways in his head so that he can immediately, without having to run his microprocessor, he's immediately going to know what action to take that's the proper action for fighting. So, I want him to be in perfect on-guard position. I then have to be in goofy on-guard position. No problem, I'm the coach. Okay, now I'm going to move, and when I move, I'm going to allow him, my student, to get both feet on the ground before I give a cue. One of the cues that I give is I increase pressure. He rolls off and lunges to target. When he hits, I make contact with the blade, which allows him a window of opportunity to develop the attack and go hit me. The reason he does this action is that I'm attacking blade. I'm not attacking target. And if I attack blade, his response is to attack target. Now, he has to get there before I cut him off. Now I'm not cutting him off with any time at all. I'm allowing him to get there. Later on, I'll get there quickly and give him a limited window of opportunity in which he has to deliver the action. Now, other possible cue that I might give him. Again, I'm going to let him get his feet on the ground. I'm going to release pressure on the blade. But at this distance, which is lunge distance, he can't just charge in to hit me. If he does, I have plenty of time to do a parry and a repost. Not good for him. So what he needs to do is to initiate an action with his hand and see what I'm going to do. Now, if I just sit here like an idiot, okay, fine, boom, he's going to hit me. All right, but that's not likely to happen in a combat. So what's likely to happen is I pretend to give an opening, he pretends to take it, I go to collapse the opening, up, and he hits. Thusly. All right. One more time. We move, I let my student get set, I open the blade, he delivers the hit. Back knee needs to bend more. The reason his sword is bending the wrong way is that his back knee is too stiff. If his back knee is more compressed and his back hip is down, the blade will come out straight and will bend properly as it should. If he's falling into the lunge, because his back hip is too high and his back knee is straight, the blade bends the wrong way. Here we go. So we move, I increase pressure, which means I'm attacking the blade, not the target. He attacks target. We move, I release pressure. He extends, he drives to the target when he sees what my true parry is, my true intention is. All right. Right, thank you. Now, the last one, I added something. What I added was I made contact on the guard with my blade. Anytime that the opponent that you feel the opponent's blade on your guard, drive to the target. You will always be correct. So when he feels this, he automatically drives to the target. And as he does so, he locks my blade to the outside and out of the action. Thusly. All right. Now, those are the actions that are done so that he can steal actions from me during our combat. Now, let's suppose that we're moving, I let my opponent get set again, and I make an attack under the arm. If I'm attacking under the arm, he responds with a counter 8. Notice that he does not move the forearm. He does not chase my blade with his hand. He chases my blade with his blade. Makes contact, comes back up, makes contact to the target. Good. Now, notice that my cue has two parts. One, I'm extending clearly and low. I have a straight arm showing him that I'm actually making an attack. I'm going clearly under his hand, and I'm doing a coaching lunge, which means a wimp lunge that just sort of pretends to be a lunge and shows him what I'm doing, because he's not doing 20 lessons a day, and I am, and if I do a real lunge, I won't be here to finish it. Thusly. Now, other possibility, I could go low to the inside. Once again, I let him get his feet on the ground. Now, I go low to the inside with a fake lunge. He parries. He reposts. Nice and simple. Last possibility. Anything above the guard at this distance, he answers with a counter 6 and a repost. Now, once I have all of these components of the drill established with my student, then it's my job to mix them up. In competition, he can't know what the opponent's planning to do, so I have to be random in how I throw these actions to him. The thing I must do, though, is in order to be a proper instructor, I must not rush him. I must allow him to do this at his own pace as he's developing his reflexes. As he develops them and he gets that 90% and above success ratio that we've been speaking of, then I can start rushing him a little bit. But when it falls down and starts falling significantly under 90%, we've got to slow down a lot and go back up to near perfection again and then work up to speed so that so that he can keep a high level of success and have some speed at the same time. So here we go. Now, you need to see a little bit of this from behind my blade so that you can see exactly what's going on. We're in contact here, and we go through the drill. As I increase pressure, he rolls off, goes for the hit. Now I can be on the other side of the blade. Increase pressure, he rolls off, goes for the hit. Now I release pressure. He extends, goes for the hit. By the way, he got caught there on my hand because he went too tight. I never bust a student for going too tight. I bust a student for going too big, but going too tight, that's cool. If he's going to err, I'd prefer that he do it in that fashion. All right, so we move, I give the opening, there's the hit. Now I'm on the other side of the blade. We move, I give the opening, he goes for the hit with his back knee bent next time. Let's try again. I give the opening, there. Now, on top of the guard, and he takes it and drives. Now notice that he doesn't drive, lunge. He doesn't drive with his hand way out here and overextend and exaggerate the motion. He does not need to exaggerate the motion to trap my blade. He traps my blade just fine if he's coming in with his hand going to my back shoulder. That's all you need. Now, sure, if he were to bring his hand across his body, yeah, I'm likely to slip off, and then that allows the referee to make a mistake. And we don't want to allow the referee to make a mistake. So we want to make it a one light if we can. That's perfect. All right, now, notice that for the low inside, I keep my blade parallel and my arm is straight so that he has to do a 7. I do not want him to start chasing with a 4. If he chases with a 4, he is absolutely a dead meat. It's the easiest thing in the world to deceive. And it puts his hand in a bad position so that he can't come back and save himself. Now, if I go to the other side, he answers with an 8, back to the target. Anything above, he goes 6, answers to the target. So that's the breakdown in slow motion of the drill that we gave in the first lesson.